And that's the beauty of music. It captures a moment, but it can speak to so many different things.
Let's go behind the lines.
Welcome to Behind the Lines.
Excuse me. I am the host today, ma'am. Get the stuff in. You're going on the couch.
All right.
Get the stuff in.
You ain't got to tell me twice.
You ain't gotta tell me twice. Let me just my way on over in here. Hello. Welcome to Behind the Lines, where today I'm your host, Bunny, and we will be interviewing the lovely, the one and only Serene.
Hello.
Hello. So welcome in.
It feels weird to be the one on the couch this time. I'm like, oh, how's it going, you guys?
Yeah. It feels weird to be in this chair as opposed to the second chair. So today I just wanted, to talk to you about a couple of things. So firstly, the podcast.
Okay.
To get inside the mind of you and why you started this podcast, and also obviously your music, the sole, reason why we have this podcast.
Yes.
So we wanted to dive in on, your new single, Touch.
Oh, yes.
But let's talk about it. So tell us about Touch. What inspired you to, write the song, sing the song, record this song?
So Touch was a song that kind of came out of nowhere. I had this beat and I had been sitting on it for a little while, not too long, but I had listened to it like maybe once and I was like, oh, I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I shelved it and was like, I'm going to come back to it later.
Okay.
Yeah, I was chilling at home and I was like, man, I need to write something. Like, I love Distance, but it's time to release something new and something fresh. So I went through some of the beats that I already had and I was like, okay, let's try this one. Let's see what we can come up with. And I had already been in a very big musical headspace that day. I had been recording for some other stuff. And I sat down and I was like, okay, let's write. Let's really write something. And I was like, what's going on in my life right now? Navigating the dating space.
Oh.
Yeah, because for a really long time, I didn't really care to find someone. I was just like, if it happens, it happens. But I mean, as I've gotten older, I've kind of come to appreciate okay, at some point I should probably also be looking. And so I got on the dating apps.
Okay.
And a lot of my friends will always tell me I don't see you meeting someone from a dating app because you're kind of a more a person, in-person type of person. So that's kind of why I never really got on it. Not because they told me that, but just because I also kind of felt the same way. So I got on the dating apps. I've been on them for a while, but I've never really using them to the extent that they're supposed to be used for. And I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's really think about it. And I just was having so many bad experiences.
Oh. Hate that.
Just so much flakiness, so much ghosting, so much non-responsiveness. And honestly, that's kind of where Touch kind of came from, because whenever I was having people that were responding, it was honestly kind of gross. The things that they were just immediately just oh, come on over, oh, do this, oh, do that. And I'm just I'm not that girl. And I literally have on there, I'm not just trying to hook up. So why are you going to come at me with, let's hook up? Literally, can you read?
Those type of men that just want that probably don't even be reading the profiles.
That's honestly true. Who am I kidding? So that's kind of what Touch was about, because it's you just want my body. I just need your mind. I'm trying to get to know you. And I don't want to just skip all the way over to this space that you want to skip over to. So that's really what this song was about. And it was honestly really nice writing it, because I usually take quite a long time to write my music. But in the case of this, I was honestly just so irritated. It came out real quick.
Dang, all that built up.
It
Turned
really
into
did.
a little summery fun song. It does sound very much so like a very, summery fun song. It's very like dancey.
Yeah.
So I think it's very funny because I feel like normally those type of songs, like they're usually like more sadder sounding.
Oh, yeah.
And this is just like very uppity, and it's like taking a negative situation and sort of making it positive into a song.
Yeah. I mean, I really just like to write about like whatever's going on in my life at the time. And I use writing as like kind of a way to get my emotions out on paper. And so most of my songs, as much as I've tried to make happy songs, anytime I try and make a happy song, I just don't like it. And I'm like, I like my songs to be not necessarily unhappy, but like it's a way for me to express the things that I don't necessarily know how to express in any other way. It's just a way for me to really like, it's like my therapy. Like I needed to talk about it.
It's like a journal essentially.
Yeah, essentially. So yeah, but I'm really happy with the way that Touch came out.
It's really good. I love it.
Thank you. I was really excited with it, and I was like, I really want to start putting out music more often. So I was like, this is the beginning. Yeah. This is the beginning of consistent releases from Serene. Y'all be on the lookout.
Y'all heard her.
We got a lot of things in the pipeline right now.
And I feel like a lot of people can connect with that particular situation for sure.
Yes. Dating is hard.
Ugh, yeah, especially I feel like the older you get, high key, it's harder and harder.
Yeah. I was like, is this honestly a thought process I had was, is it harder for me to date because I moved to LA, or is it harder to date because I got older? It's honestly probably both, but you know.
I feel like it's always like hard to date in like bigger cities. Metropolitan. Only because I feel like people are they're moving to these cities to find themselves. So who do they think they are, trying to add somebody into that equation?
Exactly.
Okay, so, lately I've been seeing that you've been doing shows at this one specific place for Taco Tuesdays. Is that essentially going to be something you are doing every Tuesday, or is that like a monthly thing, or what's in the plans for you?
It's kind of up in the air right now, but I mean, I've been really enjoying playing there. I really love the space. Everyone there is super, super friendly. And I feel like I'm getting a sense of community there. I've played there a couple times now. Like it's just been, slowly just rolling into it. And what started off as just being like, oh yeah, do you want to come out and play one day, has kind of turned into a little bit of something more. And I just really enjoy it. So I hope it continues.
Oh, well, Taco Tuesday. You heard her.
Yes. I've been doing a lot of shows this year in general, and I've really enjoyed doing them. I really have. But man, they've been stressing me out.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Anything you do to de-stress? Any plans for, the rest of the year?
Yeah. Things that I do to de-stress, honestly, my thing has always been like I love TV, and that's been like my number one de-stressor for the longest time until this year. Oh. I don't know what it is. I think I might have just overdone it.
TV?
Yes, overdone TV.
Interesting.
I binge. Like, I binge. Like, I will just turn off my phone and just watch TV for like 8 hours. And I was like, this is very, very bad.
I feel like sometimes you need to like just turn off your brain for a little bit.
Yeah.
Though,
But it was getting like way more frequent. And I was like, okay, I'm at this point where I feel like I am becoming way too dependent on like quote unquote relaxing and watching TV. And so I was like, I can't be doing this anymore. And like, it was interesting because as soon as I said that to myself, suddenly TV wasn't interesting to me anymore. Like it wasn't as interesting. I didn't feel the desire. Yes, the power of your own words, because it didn't seem as desirable anymore. Yeah.
Did you feel like you were using it as like more of a distraction?
I think so. Like what was once my little break turned into like a full-on distraction.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. But now I think my way of relaxing is Now I'm thinking about it. When was the last time I relaxed? um, I mean,
Hello,
I like
911.
I mean, I like getting massages, but I mean, that's something I have to like plan out in advance. And I'm like, I would love some free de-stressors, not ones I have to pay for.
Yeah. Understood. Massages can be rather expensive.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do I do to de-stress? Honestly, lately it's kind of been music. It's been music. It's been actually cooking, surprisingly.
Oh.
I know. Shocking. I would have never said this a year ago. I don't like to cook, but when I do cook, I like to cook. It's a weird...
I understand that. I feel like it takes, for me, like, I'm like, I don't want to do this. But then once I get started, I'm like, okay, then I got to make this. And then I want to make this.
It's almost like exercise. You don't want to do it, but you need to do it. And when you do it, you end up really being happy that you did it.
I don't know about the exercise thing,
well, okay.
though. Well, but
like, I don't want to do that, and I don't do it.
I mean, but the cooking, like, I definitely get. Because sometimes, like, I'll be like, I don't want to cook, and then I don't do it. And then I say that to myself every day, and then I'm like, I'm just going to eat out. And then for, like, a whole 2 weeks, I'm like, dang, I said I was going to cook this, that, and the third, and I never did it. I just ate out. Now my groceries are bad. But then once I start doing it and I get into like a habit of doing it, I'm like, I'm going to do this every day.
Yeah. And then I get excited because I'm like, ooh, what else can I make? I think it's when I have something that I want to make that I get really excited about cooking. And then I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to make this. Like, can I get off of work so I can go cook?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But these come in phases. These come in phases.
Oh, I understand
it comes and then I'm like, ooh, Chef Serene in the building. And you'll see me posting a bunch on Instagram and everyone will be like, oh my God, Serene, your food looks so good. And then it'll completely stop and you won't hear about cooking for like 2-3 months.
That's okay. That's why you're not a chef.
Exactly.
It's fine. It's not your passion. It's not everybody's cup of tea. I definitely never post any of my food because I'm shy.
I like it. But I only like it sometimes. And I think one of the reasons why I like it too is that I can just play music whenever I'm cooking. It's like when I'm watching TV, I can't play music because there's going to be music and sounds and all that stuff already in the show. But like if I just want to listen to something and like vibe a little bit, like I've been listening to a lot more music this year. It's like I listen to music when I'm walking on my treadmill. I'll listen to music while I'm designing for work. I'll listen to music while I'm cooking. And it makes me happy. It like really fills my soul getting to like listen to some of my favorite artists.
Okay. Well, let's go into your podcast a little bit.
Yeah.
So what really like inspired you to start, Behind the Lines, and what really like made you want to execute it the way that you did, as far as like renting the space and everything.
This has been interesting because back in college, I used to work on a podcast called Beam, and I did not want to be in the podcast at all.
Really?
Not at all. I was like, I don't want to talk. I'm super shy. Well, I mean, shy-ish. And I was like, I don't want to talk.
Shy person.
I was back in the day. But I was doing the audio engineering. I was like editing the podcast and recording everybody. And I would just be sitting there watching it because it was a group discussion. I think there was like maybe 5-6 people. Okay. And I'd get everybody set up and they'd all come in and we'd all talk. And every once in a while they would have a topic that they would be fighting on. And I would just be like, get up from behind the desk, come out to the room and be like, grab someone's mic and be like, hold on, y'all can't like, and just interject. And they were like, Serene, why are you not in the podcast? And I was like, I'm not trying to be in the podcast. I'm just doing it. And they're like, you always say insightful stuff. Get on the podcast. And I'm like, no. I was just stubborn, honestly. But it's funny because that was kind of my first experience with podcasting. And so after that, when they kept saying like, get on, and I never actually ended up getting on, but it kind of planted a little seed in the back of my head because I like to start new projects.
Okay, shout out Beam.
Yes. And so it sat in the back of my head for like years, and I kind of forgot about it for a while. And then I started seeing podcasts pop up a lot on my like For You page and my Instagram, and I was like, man, I remember when I wanted to start a podcast. And you and I almost started a podcast one time too before this. See, because it's like a recurring thing. It just kept coming back. It kept coming back.
That would have been a good podcast.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how to execute this. I did not.
There were many phases. Yes, that was the thing. There was, I was like, podcasting, it doesn't seem that hard. And then you and I tried to do it. And I was like, this is really hard. I don't know if we should do this. And then,
it just came off more as like a conversation between two friends about nothing.
Yes, I was like, this is so ridiculous. We recorded one episode and then I don't even know if we ever even listened back to it.
Nah.
I wonder if I still have it.
I don't know.
I probably do. I don't delete anything. But anyway, after that, like a year or so passed by and the idea of a podcast kind of came back to me from I feel like I was getting subliminal messaging from all of my social medias being like, start a podcast. And I was thinking about ways to really kind of foster more community in LA with music. And
I love that.
Yeah, at the beginning of the year, I wanted to do like live shows and like host stuff.
Right.
I don't know anything about live. Like, I didn't really know much about podcasts either, but I was like, that seems a lot harder. Let's move that a little bit down the line. But I still want to start something, and I still want to try and foster community and get people's stories and their music out there. I want to be helpful. I want to help spread the stories.
Oh, love that.
Yeah. And so I was like,
platform for all the independent artists.
Because I feel like there's so much to being an artist that people don't see or hear or talk about. And when you do see or hear or talk about it, it's all like the big stars. And it's like, okay, well, how did they get their start,
Exactly.
And I just kind of was like, I'm just going to host a podcast and invite people on instead of like trying to host a show and bring them up on stage. I'm like, there's lots of shows in LA that you can go to. And I still want to do that at some point. But I was like, stepping stone, still want to foster community. Maybe I can do something that's a little bit more online, but also still very personable. To like really
it's very vulnerable.
More.
Getting to hear, the guest stories and like what inspired them and stuff like that. I have to say, being a co-host has taught me a lot about music and the intricacies of being a musical artist and all that stuff. So I think that it's a really nice platform it's like a show is like really cool and it can be intimate too, but I think it's like really nice to have a podcast where like you get to see these artists like really be vulnerable and really share a part of themselves. And thank you to all the guests that have been on the show.
All the guests. Yeah. So that was pretty much it. I just really wanted to share more stories, build some community, and C, I honestly just needed a new project to do. Sometimes I
just needed a thing.
The thing is, I can't sit still. And if I've been sitting still for too long, just know something is about to like come up from it because I can't do it. I can't sit still for that long unless I'm binging TV, as I said earlier. But, now that I'm not doing that as much, I was like, I wanted to do something that like meant something. And I know my music means something and I love that. But I was also like, I want to do something more.
I understand. That makes sense. Okay, so what made you like want to make it also like a visual podcast versus just like having the talks on like Spotify?
I think it was really just more visibility. Like, I think, people listen to podcasts, but you can also watch them. I'm like, if we're already going to be sitting in a room talking, might as well record it and give people a face to put with like the voice. Yeah. Especially because like being musicians, a lot of your brand a lot of times does have to do with your look. And I think it's cool that we get to like see what these people like look like, although we're also getting to hear what they sound like.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
So
all the senses will just see and hear.
Yeah, but I've been I was doing a lot of like YouTube and stuff back in the day too, and I
Okay.
wanted to get back into that. And I was like, I don't know, if I record the podcast, maybe it'll actually, inspire me to start making my own YouTube videos and stuff more.
Okay.
And I don't know, I like to be on camera. I like to be interviewed. I like to interview. I was just like, just combine these things all into one and see what comes from it.
Okay. Well, that's great. And you do make a good point about excuse me. You make a good point about having the artists also like be visible. You can see their faces, you can see their image, their look and stuff like that. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about your unreleased single, Selfish. You're going to perform that later on today.
Yes,
We're very, very excited. So let's hear the story behind Selfish. What sparked, the inspiration behind it? Yeah.
So Selfish is an interesting one because it's like a very sultry song. And
Okay.
so like you would kind of think that it's about like a man's partner, a person I'm like trying to talk to.
Okay.
It's not.
Okay. Okay.
It's not. It just happens to be the way the beat is, and it just
Yeah.
happens to be like what I was feeling in that moment. Because I went through a really big like friend breakup, and
Those are rough.
yeah, they're rough, and I feel like
Yeah.
that's another thing. Like I never really thought too much about friend breakups because usually they just kind of fizzle or whatever. But this one wasn't really a fizzle. Like there was tension, and I don't think either of us really wanted it to end, but we're stubborn. So it just kind of eventually it did end up fizzling out, but it was because there was so much tension to begin with. And I had been kind of struggling with it for a while because I wanted to keep going back to, trying to make it work. And then eventually I was like, man, forget it. Like
It takes two people.
Exactly,
Like, the
yeah.
other person's got to also want to fix that particular relationship. And I feel like sometimes friend breakups are so much more painful than like relationship breakups because whatever, you can find another girlfriend, you can find another boyfriend, yada, yada, yada. But like, it's not easy like finding like real good friends.
Yes, exactly. And I've been friends with this person for a long time. So it was hard to like let that go. But one of the things that I struggle with is like giving people boundaries, and or like holding my own boundaries, I guess I could say. But I kept being like, I want to go back to this person. And I kept having to remind myself like, okay, if I go back to this person, how is that going to like positively affect my life? And if I do think that it is going to be a positive effect, like we're going to have to work on our communication because near the end there, it just got so bad. So yeah, I struggled with it for so long that I just needed to get it out on paper. And honestly, after I wrote Selfish, I felt so much better. Like,
like a little release. Yes.
Because I had tried to write a song about it before because I was like, I feel like, as I said, music is kind of my therapy. So I was like, if I write something, then maybe I'll let it go.
Oh, very symbolic.
Yeah. And I kept writing things.
Go out of your brain.
Yeah. I kept writing things and it wasn't working. I didn't like it. I never even got through the songs half the time. I'd get like halfway through, not even halfway through, like a verse. And then I'd be like, this is trash. I'm sad now. And I'm going to watch TV because I don't want to think about it anymore. Yeah, it sucked. But then that beat came around and I was like, I want this beat. And I know I'm going to write on it. And once I got it out there, I was like, I feel better. It was like a weight was being lifted off my shoulders.
That makes sense. All right. Well, let's go ahead and, head over to the spot and hear your unreleased single, Selfish. This is going to be a first for all of y'all.
Yes.
So let's go.
All right.
Just because I believe that I should take up space. Shouldn't have to explain me to you, but I'll give you a little grace, 'cause that's just what I do. I'm patient, quiet, evasive. Now I'm breaking my silence, done waiting. I shouldn't have ignored the signs, 'cause all of a sudden nothing was fine. Next thing I know, I'm having to climb to get to you. But no, I don't wanna be wasting my time. So excuse me if you think I'm selfish, just because I believe that I should take up space. We could have passed all this pain if we knew, but we didn't. Cause talking wasn't something that we do. I was patient, too quiet, evasive. Now I'm breaking my silence, done waiting. Excuse me if you think I'm selfish, just because I believe that I should take up space. Well, excuse me if you think I'm selfish, just because I believe that I should take up space. It's so crazy that we couldn't work through this. It really got me questioning. Do you really think I'm selfish?
Well, that was incredible. I loved it. It was very sultry, and I for sure would have never guessed that it was about a friend breakup. It definitely sounded like a little, a little tiff with your man.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the fun thing about music is that it's open to interpretation. And honestly, I listened back to it and I was like, it really does sound like I had a tiff with my man,
Yeah.
but I know deep down in my core that it was really about a friend breakup. And like it could change for me later on. I don't know. I mean, I hope I don't end up having this song, match a relationship later down the line, but like it could change, and that's the beauty of music. It captures a moment, but it can speak to so many different things.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for guesting on your own show.
Don't mind if I do.
And performing for us, giving a little insider to, your unreleased single. It was great. You guys keep an eye out, okay?
Yes.
Obviously, you should plug yourself in. Tell the people where they could find you.
Well, if you didn't already know, I'm Serene, and you can find me pretty much everywhere at Serene's Universe for all the socials, and then for all the music, Spotify, Apple, Tidal, everything. It's Serene. We hopped off the universe part. But yeah, I've just really enjoyed getting to like do this podcast and meeting with so many amazing artists throughout our time on this first season. And it's kind of sad to be coming to a close already. I'm sad about it, but I'm also like, y'all, these podcasts are hard. Oh my God. I love that I did this, but I'm that person. I'm telling you, I just jump into things and I don't necessarily look into all the details before I get myself involved. So,
well, you know what? You did that. So,
yes. And it's done. It's coming to a close, but don't worry. Behind the Lines will be coming back for a season 2. Yeah, but we wouldn't just leave you with nothing though. So we have made a Spotify playlist of all the amazing artists that we have interviewed and talked with and shared these vulnerable moments with this season. So check out the Behind the Lines podcast playlist on Spotify. Yes. Only on Spotify. Sorry, guys.
No Apple Music.
Yeah, I'm a Spotify gal myself, so yeah. So
Spotify sponsor Behind the Lines.
But we appreciate you tuning in, and it's a bittersweet moment to be saying goodbye, but we will be back.
We're not saying goodbye though. We'll see
you later.
Yes.
See you later. And yeah, stay connected with us on our socials, Behind X the Lines, and on YouTube at Serene's Universe. And tap in with us and make sure you're ready because season 2 is coming. We will be back.
Well, you will be back.
Well, yeah, I'll be back. Sad moment. When he's leaving us.
I will be unavailable because I will be starting a new life in Atlanta. Sorry, guys.
I'm internally crying.
This is honestly the best choice that I could make for myself right now. But, you know, maybe there is a potential that I will be back for, I don't know, season 7.
I love that. Well, we appreciate everything that you have done for this podcast.
Thank you. I mean, really all I did was just show up. It was really all Serene, y'all. She did all the editing, all the everything. I'm just here for the personality.
But we love it. We love it. Until next time, thanks for taking a peek into our universe. Keep seeking out the stories behind the music.
Because the magic doesn't only happen on stage, but also behind the lines.
Bye, you guys. See you in season 2.
So excuse me if you think I'm sad.